Are you using or planning on using Anchor to publish your podcast? If so, you might have seen that you can now use Spotify Music in your podcast. And today I will give you 5 reasons why you shouldn't. Hi, I am Pixel Pia. I have already done 2 tutorials about how you can use Anchor to create your podcast. And I will link them in the description below. But today I want to talk about using Spotify Music. Anchor was bought by Spotify in February last year, 2019. And with that came some changes. One is that you can now use Spotify Music in your podcast, but that has some drawbacks. And today I will give you 5 reasons why I think you should not use Spotify Music. Reason number 1, and maybe the most important one, is that if you include Spotify Music in your podcast, it can only be distributed to Spotify. You can no longer have it on any other platform. And there is also a reviewing process before it can be published on Spotify. Reason number 2 is that at the moment, if you use Anchor, this can only be used in the US, Canada, Ireland, UK, Australia, and New Zealand. Reason number 3 is that it depends on if the Spotify user who listens to your podcast is a free user or a premium user, how much of the music they can hear. For free users, it will only be 30 seconds of the song that is played. For a premium user, they can listen to the whole song. There are also requirements about how much of the podcast has to be talking subjects before you can use the Spotify Music. Reason number 4 is that you can only use Spotify Music between talking segments. It cannot be used as background music. And reason number 5 is that you cannot edit in any way. For free users, they will hear 30 seconds of the music, and for premium users, they will hear the whole song. So in my opinion, you should not use the Spotify Music in your podcast. But if you don't want to take my advice, I will still show you how it can be done. So let me put my screen up here so we can take a look at how it is done. So I open Anchor and go to the episode we have been working on. Let's say that I want to add some Spotify music. I go to the little plus tool and I go to the music tab. Here it says add songs to your episode. Let's do it. And then I have a search bar. And let's search for something easy. Let's search for Beatles. And here we have a lot of Beatles songs to choose from. And let's take something a little happy. Here Comes the Sun. They have chosen a 30 seconds little spot that we can use in our podcast. And if we want to add it, we just add the plus sign, add song to episode. So now I'm closing this and going back to my episode. And as you can see, that song is now at the end of the podcast. Of course, I can draw it up and put it wherever I want. For example, between extra and the recording with Ghana where I did an interview over the phone. If I'm listening to this now, since I'm on my Anchor app, I can only hear 30 seconds. Even if I am a premium user. When I publish this, it will go through the review process, and if it is accepted, it will show up on Spotify's podcasts. And the premium user that would listen to this would hear the whole song between the 2 segments, while I, as a free user, would only hear 30 seconds. But that is how it is done. I would still recommend using Anchor. I like how easy it is to create podcasts with Anchor. And later on, I will create a video where I show you how you can import your own music or music that you have the rights to use to your podcast. Until next time, remember, never stop learning.